House of Representatives is set on a fresh course of collision with President Donald Trump, this time over the Friday restriction of immigrant visa against Nigerians and nationals of 5 other countries. Speaker Nancy Pelosi said on Saturday that the new policy smacked of discrimination and undermined the U.S. global leadership, constitution and heritage. The House, according to her, will soon establish a no-ban act against the immigrant visa ban, which also targets nationals of Myanmar, Eritrea, Kyrgyzstan, Tanzania, and Sudan. She spoke as President Muhammadu Buhari set up committee to study and address the travel restriction against Nigerians. Heading the committee is Interior Minister Rauf Aregbesola. Pelosi, in a statement yesterday, said the Trump administration's expansion of its outrageous on American travel ban threatens our security, our values, and the rule of law. The sweeping rule, barring more than 350 million individuals from predominantly African nations from traveling to the United States, is discrimination disguised as policy. America's strength has always been as beacon of hope and opportunity of people around the world whose dreams and aspirations have enriched our nation and made America more American. With this latest callous decision, the president has doubled down on his cruelty and further undermined our global leadership, our constitution, and our pride heritage as a nation of immigrants. In the Congress and in the courts, House Democrats will continue to oppose the administration's dangerous anti-immigrant agenda. In the coming weeks, the House Judiciary Committee will mark up and bring to the floor the No Ban Act to prohibit religious discrimination in our immigration system and limit the president's ability to impose such biased and bigoted restrictions. We will never allow hatred or bigotry to define our nation or destroy our values. As Aregbesola heads federal government committee to study situation, President Muhammadu Buhari constituted a committee to study and address the situation. A special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, said the committee is headed by the Interior Minister Rauf Aregbesola. The committee will work with the U.S. authorities, Interpol, and other stakeholders to ensure the proper implementation of the decision. The statement also explained the diplomatic decision, which was taken against Nigeria and 5 other nations, applies the suspension to the issuance of immigrant visas, clarifying that other forms of visas are not affected. It, however, reassured of Nigeria's readiness to continue to collaborate with the United States and its allies, especially when it concerns global security. Adesina said on 31st January 2020, the United States U.S. Department of Homeland Security (DHS) announced temporary travel restrictions on 6 countries, including Nigeria. For Nigeria, the restriction is the suspension of the issuance of immigrant visas to Nigerian passport holders only. This suspension shall come into effect on 21st February 2020. The suspension does not apply to other U.S. visas such as those for official, business, tourism, and student travel. The DHS states the suspension of immigrant visas became necessary following a review and update of the methodology performance metrics adopted by the U.S. government to assess compliance of certain security criteria by foreign governments. This resulted in certain enhancements on how information is shared between Nigeria and the US. Nigeria remains committed to maintaining productive relations with the United States and its international allies, especially on matters of global security. Accordingly, President Muhammadu Buhari has established a committee to be chaired by the Minister of Interior to study and address the updated US requirements. The committee will work with the US government, Interpol, and other stakeholders to ensure all updates are properly implemented. Atiku also urges US to spare innocent Nigerians. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar pleaded with the United States to spare innocent Nigerians of the travel ban imposed on Nigeria. He said Washington should rather restrict the ban to officials of the Nigerian government responsible for actions that warranted the ban. He urged the U.S. authorities to punish the Nigerian people for the not to punish the Nigerian people for the inadequacy of their leaders. In a statement he personally signed, Atiku said he received with sadness the policy of the government of the United States of America to place Nigeria on its travel ban list. He said, while I understand the reasons given by the Trump administration, the failure of the Muhammadu Buhari-led administration to share information and to address issues of terrorism, the ban does not take into account of pro-American sentiments of the Nigerian public and the solidarity previous Nigeria administrations have had with the United States. He said, I urge the government of President Donald Trump to consider the history of U.S.-Nigerian relationships. Nigeria was one of the few African nations that joined the U.S.-led coalition during Operation Desert Storm in 1990 and 1991, when the United States championed the liberation of Kuwait. The Trump administration may also consider the pivotal role Nigeria, in partnership with the US, played in bringing peace to Liberia, an American sphere of influence that now enjoys democracy because Nigerian blood and money paved the way for peace in that nation. Also, Atiku recalled how Nigeria has consistently voted in support of the United States and her allies at the United Nations and other multilateral world bodies. It reminded the US of Nigeria's position as America's biggest trading partner in Africa, even where Nigeria had alternatives. Nigerians love the United States and have been a major force for the positive development of that great nation. 77% of all black doctors in the United States are Nigerians. Nigerians are also the most educated immigrant community in America. Surely the US stands to benefit if it allows open borders with a country like Nigeria that is able to provide skilled, hardworking, and dedicated personnel in a two-way traffic. The current Nigerian administration may have its deficiency and deep fault, but the Nigerian people ought not to be punished for their inefficiencies. Once again, I call on President Trump to consider adopting measures that individually target those in government who have failed in their duties rather than target the entire Nigerian population. So guys, with all being said, in my opinion, each of the issues that have been addressed here, talk about the president setting up committee, talk about the House of Representatives in the US, trying to bring us some points and all of that, is a welcome development. The last one that I really want to talk about is the disposition of the vice president, the former vice president, Abubakar Atiku. He spoke well, but in my opinion, of course, you cannot take away, someone who is already big is big. There's nothing you can do about it. Those who are not up to those people who are big, like when you talk about America, they are one of the world leaders. If not, they are even the leader. But somebody said who made them policeman of the world. That being said, but one thing I know that they are big. They are big. Of course, a lot of countries are also big, and a lot of countries who are really aspiring to be big, to make their nations great, they are still, in that journey, trying to get the best, out of their countries. But all that being said, in my opinion, with all the things that Atiku listed, Nigerians have been contributing to the growth, having a 77% of Nigerian doctors in the America, having a Nigerian, the most educated immigrants in America, and all of that. But the question is that, why, if we have such numbers, if we have such people doing great and tremendous things, then why is it that we cannot do it in our own country? If really that percentage, which I've been hearing, which is not really far from the truth, If those kind of a thing have been happening and Nigerians have been doing that, then the question is that why is it that Nigerians cannot do that? We cannot have Nigeria cannot have such Nigerians in our own country. Why are they moving there? Of course, when the former vice president Atiku said, "Oh, maybe because of uh, uh, the failure of the present leaders," we know that the present government has been failing in all areas, in most areas. But the question is that it did not just start now. It did not just start now. The reason why people are disappointed is because Nigerians have suffered enough. They have seen the worst of all. And when these people came, they said, oh, they are going to change the narratives. And at the end of the day, we found out that they were not even ready. They don't even have what it takes to turn the country or to move the country forward. And that's why a lot of people are really angry with them. Of course, any government of the day is always getting, is always uh, 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 getting that fault or getting blame because you are the one in charge. So nobody's going to hold anyone who has been in government before responsible. But at that moment, you are going to be getting most of the blame. Of course, we know that the blame started from right from time immemorial. The question is that the statistics that the article is giving about Nigerians doing great things in America, did he just start this in this dispensation? No, he didn't start in this dispensation. It has been on for a very, very long time, and nobody has been able to change the narratives. Changing the narratives is that since it has been happening right from time, of the past governments, why is it that we have not been seeing, reversal? That okay, people who are doing tremendous things, Nigerians that are doing tremendous things, in many, many areas, why is it that they are not coming back again to Nigeria? Because Nigeria and the government has been failing, and it continue to fail even as we speak. So if we have Nigerians who are doing tremendous things, because in that America, because American government is doing the right thing, they respect, in all areas. Nobody is perfect, no country is perfect, but to a great large extent, they are trying their best. Why is it that African countries cannot do the same? Especially Nigeria. Why can't we do the same thing? But reverse is the case. You will see our politicians, even the same article, all of them, they are living big and large. Living big and large. Tell me one politician in that same America that is living large like a Nigerian politicians. You politicians, your country, your people are living in abject poverty. Now our country is the headquarters of a people with living in abject poverty. Yet you guys are living large. But reverse is the case. Those people, they are patriotic. They consider their people. And that is the reason why you see a lot of Nigerians going to that place. Because once they get there, it's like, an opportunity will be opened, more open. We have a lot of people who are doing great and mighty things in Nigeria, but they cannot just survive it. But as soon as they step their feet out of the country, go to that same America, you will see them triumphing. I don't even know. You see them, you see them doing the right thing. So that is the problem. That is the problem we are having. This is the problem we are having. You guys are not doing the right thing. You see them doing great things. You see Nigerians, at the top, triumphing. You see them doing that. But in the case in Nigeria, it's a different ball game entirely. So, in as much you are trying to plead to this thing, why can't we plead to ourselves and do the needful so that those statistics you are giving will be sent back or will be seen in our own climb? So it goes a long way, because to me, let us do the needful. These people do not have two heads. These people are not, it's not as if they are the most intelligent or whatever. We have all it takes to be there, to be like them, but we have just refused to do it because our leaders, right from time immemorial, they have been failing. They are so selfish. They love to see people, keep suffering. All of them are living large. All of them are living big. All these our politicians, both the past and the present, they are living big. Even the article that is even talking, that is even speaking, all of them, they have failed us. So, guys, that is my own point of view from what is happening. And concerning this news, he talked about the government setting up a committee, the House of Representatives, Atiku Abubakar, making his own submission to the extent of begging and all of that. So let's us hear what you think about this whole thing. Please leave your comment below in the comment section. Thank you.